Welcome back to the Melodic Caring Project. Today we travel across the Atlantic to connect with our new friend and musical artist, Lùisa. Lùisa tells us how things have been in Germany these last few months, and she talks about music as connection. Lass uns gehen!
Living my life, curled up in a pearl white shell. Never be hurt and never be hurt again. Never be hurt and never be hurt again. Saving my soul, locked in the dark bell. I drift in silence, I'm saving my soul, yeah. Saving my soul, saving my soul.
Joining us from her home in Hamburg, Germany, Lùisa. How are you, Lùisa?
Hi, so lovely you having me. Thanks for that. I'm very well, thanks, despite all the challenges that we all have to face at the moment. But thanks so much for inviting me over. You're doing such an amazing work, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much, and we're honored to have you, excited to have you. I mean, this has been something that it's funny because it's one of the things that's come out of this whole COVID experience that I've actually loved, right? Is this opportunity to connect globally and just learn, learn about other people's experiences, the artists and how it's impacting them. So what has been your experience, and how has this whole situation impacted you?
Well, of course, for musicians, it's quite difficult at the moment. We can't tour, we cannot, play our music to a live audience, and I really miss that a lot. But on the other hand, I was lucky enough that I could lock myself into a studio during the lockdown in Germany, and I was in Berlin, and I recorded a lot of new music, and I was just, I was just busy producing on the laptop and writing on my guitar and writing lyrics. So I tried to make the best out of the situation, and I really have to say, it also made me realize how privileged I am, because there are so many amazing people who fight against this virus, and who, like the healthcare workers and the doctors, and in this kind of sense, it made me realize what amazing, this is an amazing work, and it's just what this pandemic shows us, that we're all in this together, and we need to be patient. So personally, it was okay for me. I miss touring, but it also, it's good to realize that I'm still on the privileged side.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, I mean, just having the ability or the opportunity to get into a studio and spend time in that scenario, rather than locked down somewhere, obviously, for sure, that's a huge privilege. And how's it been? I mean, have you been able to stay kind of engaged and creative, and has this time given you the opportunity to do more writing and recording?
Yes, definitely. So I really had the time to focus a bit more. And I think maybe that's also a positive side effect of this weird times, that we can actually meditate a bit more and reflect a bit more, and, find our peace within a bit more, because the world is just like, it doesn't, it's just silent, and there are no shows anymore. So I feel it helped me a lot to focus on the writing process and finish off my third album.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah,
So you actually have wrapped up a project since this started.
yes, exactly. So I was in the studio when the lockdown started, and it was just the producer and me. So we were both locked in, and we were like, okay, we have to finish this now. And then, once the lockdown was over, and, the shop slowly opened up again, and everything was a bit, more open, then this kind of, this album was kind of finished. And now I'm working on the artwork and the videos. So I got something that keeps me busy, and it's okay to work, silently and quietly at home. And I hope, when I put this music out, maybe in the next month or next year, then I hope there will be, the new opportunities to actually go on tour again.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that you were writing lyrics and writing, melodies and that kind of thing. Did you find that because of the scenario and the way that you had to approach it, did it impact the way you write lyrics, and did it change the thoughts and what you had to express?
Yes, definitely. I think that it was such a weird atmosphere in Berlin where I recorded this album because, Berlin is the capital of Germany. So it's a very, very busy place and 3 million people living there. And so when you went out, and it was like a ghost city, no one was out, and it had a very gloomy and funny feel. So, it influenced the lyrics. And I feel, it because it's also that if you can't go out and meet your friends and meet your family so much, then you reflect a little more on the images that you hold within and the inner landscapes that you see. So I feel it kind of helped me to really stick to this process.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder, it being written in kind of in that atmosphere, right, with that spirit of Berlin feeling kind of weird and ghost towny, and that inspiring your lyrics, is this something that you'll take out of that that kind of lockdown separation, but as life starts to return to normal and we get back into crowds, how do you think that'll play, right, with writing the lyrics from that perspective of being separated, but then performing them to a crowd again and bringing people together and joining?
Yes, I think so. It's like 11 songs on the new record, and so I got some that are a bit more. It's about isolation. So one is called Deep Sea State of Mind, and it's about this feeling of really being isolated and feeling disconnected from the world. But there's also hopeful songs, like the one I'm going to perform later. Which is about, finding new beginnings and getting out there again. And I feel, if you're isolated, you can really feel there's the desire to go out there again and to meet people. And I think there's, if this pandemic has the chance to realize that we can change things, and then if it shows us how that love and support for each other is the most important thing, then that's a good thing, So I just felt that just realizing how important the life without the pandemic is really inspired this album as well, and made it also a hopeful record. So it has been also because I wrote the lyrics also last year before the pandemic, and it's been for me as well. This whole album has been a sort of a healing journey, and this was, a funny time to actually finish the process of writing, and I'm just happy to put it out there and see, how people will receive it.
Well, hopeful and healing are two wonderful things to provide into the world right now, for sure. What have you found that music means to you over the course of the years that you've played, and and music now being such an integral part of taking you through this pandemic and isolation and all that? What does music mean to you, and can you describe that in one word? And it can be a German word if you want, but then you have to describe that German word.
So one word, I would probably choose connection. And this word, in the sense of, if I go out and play a live show, I really need it, because I want to connect with people, and I want to celebrate the power of music, and I want to have an amazing time, just like sharing emotions. And this is, music helps bring us all together, but it also helps, I think, to connect ourselves with our own souls, and it helps to be aware of the very moment we are in. So when I create, I feel this is also a healing process, and it helps me to find who I am. And I think this is what music means to me, and I can really recommend to anyone. The process of creating is something very healing, and if it's music or drawing or writing, it's connection with yourself, with others, and with the process of healing.
You couldn't have chosen a more perfect word suited to this conversation. This is MCP Connects, and that's entirely the purpose, right? Is to bring people together in a time when we're feeling separated or feeling distant from each other. So the perfect word, and also perfect for the kids, because that's the whole point of Melodic, right? Is that a lot of these kids are stuck for extended periods of time in the hospital and they feel very disconnected. And so this is our opportunity to reach out and to connect with them, show them we still love them, that we're thinking about them, they're never forgotten, we're sending them support. So do you have a song that you would like to connect with the kids, and do you have some kids you want to dedicate it to?
Yes, so I would like to play a song called Come Around. This is a very new one. It's not released yet, so it's a sort of a world premiere for you rock stars. And so I would like to dedicate it to Tessa from Washington, to Tucker and Sydney, also from Washington, to Mathan in Texas, TG in Kansas, Merth in Haverford, Western Wales, and Janet in Nottinghamshire in England. So, and I would also like to dedicate the song to the Seacrest Studios in Orlando, to the Regional Medical Center in Florida, to Barnes Castle Hospital, and this is a hard one, Susquehanna, is that right? In Pennsylvania, and Augusta University and Medical Center in Georgia. I hope that all the hospitals are pronounced correctly. So, English is not my mother tongue, but I hope it's fine. And I just want to say, this is a song about the hope and that the dark times will end, and I'm very sure that all the dark times will come to an end, and it's about finding new hope and new beginnings, and this is Come Around.
Perfect. Cannot wait to hear it, Lùisa.
After years of preaching those doubts to yourself, after years of keeping that sense of shame, there's a curious love that sprouts again. All the dark times come to an end, like a faith unleashed. The years of pain, after promise that's written in the palm of your hand. All the dark times will come to an end. All the dark times, they come to an end. Woo! To an end. They come to an end. Come to an end. How would you come around? Darling, come around. Darling, come around. Darling, come around. Darling, come around.
Yes! I love that thought. All of the dark times will come to an end. Yes, beautiful. Like you say, hopeful. Thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts you want to leave with the world before we go?
Yes, so if all the dark times will come to an end, then I'm sure this pandemic will end at some point, and sadness and isolation will end at some point. And I just want to send out so much love and support from Germany, and just say thank you so much for having me in this episode. And I hope to see you live at some point when we can travel again, and just sending love and support.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're a musician and would like to join us in supporting hospitalized kids, email us at rockstar@melodiccaring.org. I'm Levi Ware, and this is the Melodic Caring Project.